Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 drugstore foundations. Now this is going to range from everyday sort of foundation to full coverage foundations. Now, I've seen a lot of people asking on like beauty groups and stuff about their favourite foundations. Also because it is also going to be prom season very soon, there is a lot of amazing stuff at the drugstore just now. Also, quite a few of the looks that I do on this channel are basically drugstore related, so what I really talk about is drugstore, so I thought it would be a good idea to tell you guys about my top 10 drugstore foundations, because it is going to be prom season pretty soon, like in the summer and stuff. People are asking about full coverage foundation, so I am going to cover this from a more day-to-day sort of foundation up to the more sort of full coverage, glam, sort of prom makeup sort of foundations that would be good to wear for prom as well. So I'm just going to start from your everyday good foundations just to wear and sort of gradually go up to the more full coverage foundations. So the first foundation that I'm going to talk about is the Revolution Fast Base Foundation Stick. Now, it just looks like this. You guys have probably seen me. I have actually done a review on this before, so I will leave it linked somewhere just so that you guys can check it out. But this foundation is so affordable at £5. Now, you can actually get this on Superdrug, and you can also get it on the Revolution Beauty website as well. I will make sure that I do link all these websites in the description. This is in shade F1, which just stands for Foundation 1, and it's just a foundation stick and it just looks like this. I'll do a little swatch of this just on my hand here, just like that. As you can see, this does have a little bit of a sheen to it, and the reason that I have actually started out with this foundation is because I feel that this foundation is a very good everyday foundation. There it is sort of blended out on my hand. This foundation is good for everyday sort of wear, so if you just generally like to wear makeup on the daily, then this foundation is fab. For £5 I think it's so affordable and it's definitely worth trying. I know these sort of stick foundations aren't for everyone, but I got on really well with this and I absolutely love it. It is a sort of medium to full coverage. Now you can really build this up. If you're the type of person who wears a powder over the top of your foundation, then you can build this up. So you probably could get quite a full coverage look out of this. I do advise that you wear a powder over it, because if you don't, or if you don't really like wearing powders, then you will find that it will probably go a little bit oily, it might separate a little bit. But this is a very good foundation for just everyday general wear. It's pretty quick as well. It's really good at blending out. It's very buildable. So you could basically just put a couple of streaks of this on your face, blend it out, and you're good to go. And it's super travel friendly as well. So if you just want to shove something in your bag because you're on the go all the time, this foundation is fab for that. So this is a really good everyday foundation that I do highly recommend. They do also have, I think it's 18 shades in this. I think they're coming out with more, but they do have 18 shades of this right now, ranging from the lightest to the very deepest shade. The next foundation that I'm going to talk about is the Rimmel Match Perfection Foundation. Now this is the foundation with the blue lid. I've got mine in shade 100 Ivory. Now I tend to go for the lightest shades just because I do have a very fair complexion. I got this at Superdrug. Right now it is retailing for £8.29, but on the Superdrug website at the moment, as of today, I don't know how long it's going to go on for, Superdrug are actually doing 2 for £10 across this Rimmel range at the moment. So if you want to try this, that is a really good deal. One is £8.29. This foundation is also really nice for everyday coverage. It does give you more of a sort of glowy, luminous look. I like to wear this when I'm just wanting a sort of effortless look, maybe just a little bit of foundation, mascara, if I'm like just out the shower. It's just a really nice everyday coverage foundation. It can also be pretty buildable, but I would not say this full coverage. This is more if you're just going out shopping, doing your general day-to-day stuff. This foundation is good for that. This foundation also does have SPF 18 in it. Normally when foundations do have SPF in it, that does mean that you will be getting some sort of flashback, but it is also really good that it does have SPF in it because it's really good in the summer, and this is the type of foundation I would wear in the summer just because it's really lightweight and it's very easy just to sort of put on and just go throughout the day with. I don't actually think I've used this with a flash. I could be wrong, but I haven't noticed any sort of major flashback with it. Just because I do wear it day to day, I don't really wear it on more of a sort of glam look because I'm more of a full coverage person for that. But this is a very nice foundation even if you just have really nice perfect skin and you just want a little bit of coverage, if you're not really into that sort of full coverage look, this foundation is fab for that. Rimmel do have quite a good range on this as well. I tend to just stick with the lighter shades and they just seem to work for me. If I do have fake tan or anything on, I just bronze it up a little bit. But yeah, this foundation is really good, and if you're looking for a good foundation for summer, for sort of everyday, but you're not wanting anything too thick, this foundation's fab. The next foundation that I have been loving is this L'Oreal Infallible Sculpt Contouring Base Foundation. Now, this currently retails for £9.99. I really like this foundation, and I tend to go for this foundation when I'm just looking for something pretty light coverage as well. This was actually part of a set. They did actually have a cream contouring set and I think it was a highlight as well, and I bought all three and absolutely loved everything. I had to get used to the sort of cream contour because it was really creamy and very pigmented, but as a range I really like this. Again, you can get this at Superdrug. This is a very light coverage foundation. Can't speak today. Good if you're just looking for a really nice light base. This will make you look very dewy, very glowy. Again, it's probably a really good one for summer because there's not too much to it. And personally, I don't really like to wear a lot of foundation in summer at all, but if I want to look a little bit put together, these foundations that I've spoke about so far are the kinds of foundations that I would go for. I would never go for a really full coverage foundation when it's like 20 odd degrees outside because it will literally just melt off my face. These foundations are really good to use, and again, if you have a really nice skin complexion, you don't have a lot of breakouts or a lot of pigmentation, these light foundations would be absolutely fab. They blend really nicely as well. This foundation, personally, I think has a very runny consistency, so you do have to work with it a little bit quicker, but other than that, it is a really good foundation. Also, I haven't really had any flashback with this either. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't have any SPF in it. Yep, it doesn't say. I'm in the shade 01 Clear Light, but this foundation is fab for everyday sort of wear. I do highly recommend. If you haven't tried it, go check it out because it is really good. The next foundation that I'm going to talk about today is one that I think everybody over the internet has tried, but if you have not, I'm going to talk about the Revlon Colour Stay Foundation. Now, this packaging is slightly older. I have recently seen that you do actually get a pump now, and that packaging is slightly dearer than when I purchased this, but right now on Superdrug, Revlon actually do have it 3 for 2 across their range, so if you haven't tried this foundation, you could pick it up in a 3 for 2. Individually, this foundation does actually retail for £12.99. This one doesn't have a pump and it is a little bit annoying, so I might have to go and get the newer version just because this version just wastes product big time. Like this, what I normally do when I'm using this foundation is I just pour a little bit onto my hand and I just sort of dab it across my face. So yeah, this foundation is in shades 150 Buff. This shade is perfect for me. It is very full coverage. This is a really nice full coverage foundation. This foundation, I do find that it dries pretty quickly. I have used this a few times when I've been doing people's makeup, and if you have more of a drier complexion, it probably is best to moisturise or prime before you use this foundation and make sure that it is really moisturised into the skin and it's settled, because I find that if you put this on skin that is not moisturised or is really dry, it will cling to dry patches. So if you do drier skin, this probably isn't going to be the foundation for you. I do actually think that there's quite a few different skin combinations with this foundation. For this one, this is for normal to dry skin. That's because I do have pretty a normal complexion, but I'm quite oily in the middle. I'm pretty sure they do have a combination one as well, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that just in case I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there was a few different skin types with this foundation. So if you can find your skin sort of combination, like if you're more combination or normal, or if you're oily, I'm pretty sure there is quite a few different ranges in this. Also, there is a really good shade range as well. There's about 12 plus shades in this, and this is the lightest shade. I tend to always navigate to the lightest shade just because it always works, and I can build it up or I can add colours if I have to. This foundation does last quite a while. You could definitely go full glam as well. Again, this foundation does have SPF 20, and with this foundation I did figure out that you do get really bad flashback with it. So it's probably best to take pictures during the day where you don't have to use flash, but you do get, well, personally I do get quite bad flashback with this. Just in case you're quite new and you don't really know what flashback is in foundations, if it does contain SPF like 20, 18, any sort of SPF, you're going to get flashback, which means the middle of your face is going to go very light and vibrant in pictures, and it's going to make you look quite oily. So if you've got any pictures like that where you're looking at yourself like, wow, why have I got this white cast on my picture or on my face, it's because you've got flashback from your foundation. Just want to put that out there in case there is anybody watching this thinking, I wonder what flashback is. That's what flashback is. Or even if you see like big white casts across your face, that's the flashback if you're using a flash on a camera. Sometimes when you're using quite a high-end camera, you might not notice it as much, but definitely with mobile phones and stuff, it can give a really big flashback on pictures, and I do find that with this foundation there is a little bit of a flashback, so I don't really like using the flash when I'm wearing this foundation. But other than that, it is a really good foundation for like glam looks, for night outs. It is pretty full coverage, you can build it up, and again it's retailing for £12.99 on Superdrug. I will try my best to leave the links in the description if you do want to try any of these foundations. My next foundation I'm going to speak about is one that I absolutely love. Now, I would recommend this over any sort of foundation just because it's very affordable and it basically does everything that you would want in a foundation, especially if you're going for more of a full coverage. This is absolutely fab. This foundation is the Rimmel Last and Finish 25 Hour Foundation. Now this is the one with the red lids. Some people do get a little bit confused because Rimmel do have blue lids, red lids. I think they've got white lids as well now. But yeah, the one with the red lid, this foundation is fantastic. I absolutely love this foundation. It's definitely one of my holy grails when I'm doing a night out look on someone. If you guys seen my Instagram where I done my sister Natasha makeup for a night out, this was the foundation that I used on her. A lot of people did comment on it asking what you're wearing on your skin, your skin looks so glowy. This was the foundation that I used in that picture. But yeah, this foundation is fab. It is actually retailing for £8.29 on Superdrug website. And this shade that I've got is 103 True Ivory. Now, I really like this shade because it's not too yellow toned, but it's not too pink toned. It's pretty neutral. And when I do have a good fake tan on, this just matches me perfect. Now, it does have SPF 20 in it. I haven't had much of a flashback with it. It does say that it's a full coverage skin perfecting foundation, and I definitely agree with that. This foundation is nice and full coverage. It just gives you the perfect flawless canvas. Especially when you're using a sponge with it. If you've got a damp sponge, this foundation is fab. It does last a really good while as well. I have had a few comments. Again, Natasha told me that when her makeup was done, the next morning her foundation was still on. So yeah, this foundation is fab. Also, I just want to make a note that none of these foundations that I've mentioned so far break me out. I know some people were worried about foundations clogging up in their pores and like breaking them out and stuff. This foundation does not break me out at all. Neither does any of the foundations that I've talked about previously, just in case you are wondering about that. I actually haven't noticed any flashback with this. I don't actually know if I've used a flash with this. Have I used a flash with this? I'm not too sure, but it is really, really nice on, and it's really, really good for full coverage. So if you guys are looking for a more affordable foundation, this foundation is fab, and if you are looking for something pretty full coverage, I do recommend this for glam nights out or prom, birthdays, whatever the makeup look is. I highly recommend this foundation for it because it is fab. The next foundation that I want to talk about is the Maybelline Superstay foundation. Wait a minute till I turn the lid around so that you guys can see it. Is this Maybelline Superstay foundation. Now this is the 24 full coverage foundation. I am pretty new to this, but already I'm the type of person that knows when a foundation is going to be good or when it's going to be rubbish on the first wear. This foundation is fab. The colour is a little bit off. I do have to get a lighter shade in it. If you want to go and pick this up, Maybelline are actually doing a buy one get your second half price across Maybelline right now. This foundation is so full coverage. I'll just do a little swatch of this one just to kind of show you guys, but it is super full coverage. I do also like that it has a little pump as well because it does actually save the product. This foundation blends like a dream. My only issue with it is the colour that I've got just now is very sort of orange tones, as you guys can see there, and I'm more of a sort of yellow tone, sort of neutral undertone, so this foundation does oxidise on me a little bit and it goes really pretty orange, but I can sort that because I'll just get a lighter shade. But this foundation as an overall is amazing. It blends really seamlessly as well. This foundation doesn't seem to give me any flashback, so it is really good for that, and it is really easy to apply. So if you've not tried this, it's definitely worth it. It does claim to have 24-hour wear. Honestly, I've not put it to the test that long because I just probably wouldn't wear my foundation that long. But yeah, this foundation is fab, and if you are looking for something pretty full coverage but still drugstore market, this I highly recommend. This foundation that I'm going to talk about today is probably one of the most full coverage drugstore foundations that I'm going to speak about today. It is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Total Coverage. Now this retails for £9.99 on Superdrug website again. And also Superdrug are doing 3 for 2 across the L'Oreal Paris range. So if you want to pick this up, they are currently doing deals. Superdrug are fab for their deals. They're always doing good promotions across all their makeup, and it makes it worth it, and it makes me want to really buy more makeup. So yeah, it's the foundation that I'm currently wearing in this video today, and I'm in shade 10 Porcelain. I find that that's just a great shade for me. This foundation coverage is definitely a very full coverage foundation. If you are looking for a good foundation for prom, a night out, things like that, I would highly recommend this foundation. Probably over all of the foundations, I would recommend these two. Because I feel like you would just get an absolute flawless canvas with these. Affordable at £9.99 and it gives an absolute flawless canvas. Now this finish is matte and it does dry pretty quickly, so I really do recommend using a beauty blender or some sort of beauty sponge with this because it dries like a powdery sort of matte. So if you are the type of person who doesn't like to wear powder over your foundation, you could definitely get away with this because this gives you a nice sort of powdery matte finish. I'm the type of person that I do go over my foundation with powder anyway, but it just gives it even more coverage for me. But yeah, I really like this foundation. It covers imperfections, redness, any sort of darkness, sort of spots, things like that as well. It definitely covers all that, and if you're looking for a good foundation, I really do recommend this. So yeah, with this I also don't find that I get any sort of flashback at all. I feel like my face looks absolutely flawless. My face doesn't feel like I'm wearing a full coverage foundation. I feel like I'm just wearing like any sort of foundation, but I've got the coverage there, and that's what I love about it. This is definitely going to be a repurchase for me because I love it. If you've not tried it, you have to because it is fab. The 8th foundation is going to be this L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour matte. Now I have just grown to love this again. I sort of abandoned it a little bit. It also retails for about I think it's between £8 and £10 on Superdrug, and this foundation again is a sort of medium to full coverage. You can definitely build this up. It has a really nice lightweight texture on it. I'm shade 10 Porcelain in this. This is mattifying and it is just a really nice foundation. It also doesn't leave me shiny in the centre at all, and my sort of T-zone does go very oily and shiny. This foundation does not do that. It leaves my skin looking really nice throughout the day. This does last quite a few hours. It is really good. I could definitely say I get a good 8 hours out of this foundation without it oiling me up. Same with this Infallible one. I can definitely get a good while out of this foundation as well. L'Oreal, they are doing 3 for 2 on Superdrug, so if you want to try this, you can pick it up on there. The next foundation that I'm going to speak about is a little bit of a new find, and it is the Revolution Pro Full Coverage Camouflage Foundation. Now, this foundation, I think it retails for $7.99 on the Revolution Beauty website. You can also get it on Superdrug as well, but it probably is best to get it on the Revolution Beauty site just because they've got more stock on there. I find that Superdrug sometimes don't have the full range sometimes, and it can be a little bit annoying. But yeah, you can get it on Superdrug or Revolution Beauty, and this foundation is absolutely fab. If you're looking for something very full coverage, and I mean very full coverage, because I'm just going to show you guys right now the coverage of this. This is absolutely fab. Now, it looks quite thin, but look at that colour. It's a very nice neutral undertone. It's not too pink, it's not too yellow. It's just absolutely perfect. That little bit can just blend right out. This stuff blends out for days. It's just a really, like, you can't even see my vein under that. This foundation does sort of dry to be a sort of a semi-matte. For me personally, I do like to powder this foundation just because it does have a little bit of a glow, a little bit of a sheen. Once you do put powder over it, it is super full coverage, and I mean super full coverage. For it being a drugstore brand, I think it's absolutely fab. You definitely need to try this. And Revolution always have little perks on their page as well, where they'll do like, if you spend £15 you'll get like a free goodie bag, things like that as well. So it is really good. Again, very affordable. I like the new packaging as well. They're sort of going along the same sort of theme here, but yeah, I really do like this packaging. It's a foundation I've not found to have any sort of flashback. It is very full coverage, but I do recommend that you powder this because you will be left with a sort of semi-matte feel, and it's probably best just to powder it. But this is absolutely fantastic. It's very easy to apply, very easy to blend out. I haven't so far found myself getting any flashback, but I'm yet to keep on trying it out and keep on using it for that. But this is super full coverage, and it is really good. And I have another little sort of concoction that I have personally made up just because I really like this. So the next two items that I'm going to talk about are actually concealers, and they are also by Revolution Makeup. Or Revolution Beauty. This is the Revolution Pro Full Coverage Camouflage Concealer. Now it just looks like this. Again, I'm in shade C1 in this, and I'm in F1 in the foundation. This concealer is absolutely fab. Now it is a concealer, but I do know that there is maybe some people who would rather buy a concealer than a full foundation to go over their face, and I have used this several times as just a foundation, and it works absolutely fab, and it gives super full coverage as well. This retails for £5 I believe on the Revolution Beauty website, also on Superdrug. Again, it is a little bit of a hit and a miss with Superdrug sometimes not having the full range, so I'm not too sure if this is on all the Superdrug websites yet, but I do know it is on Revolution Beauty. It is retailing for £5 and it is so worth it. If you guys don't want to invest a little bit more in like a full tube of foundation, maybe because you don't really wear it, or you just don't want to do it, grab this concealer and you can definitely use that as a foundation. It It is so full coverage, it is matte, it's beautiful, and it lasts quite a while as well. Yeah, highly recommend this. But I would also recommend this with the Revolution Conceal and Define. This is also a concealer which is super full coverage. It is really talked about and it's compared to as a Tarte Shape Tape dupe. But these two together go really nicely. If you're using this concealer as the foundation base and this as the concealer under the eyes, and then you put a little bit of powder over the top of it, this gives an absolute flawless canvas. It is absolutely beautiful. So again, if you maybe just don't want to invest a little bit in some foundations and or you don't really use a lot of foundation, these concealers are fab and they definitely give you a full coverage look. I don't seem to get any flashback with this concealer, but this concealer retails for £4. You can actually get it on Superdrug and Revolution Beauty. They always are adding to the range. I'm pretty sure there's 25 shades of this now, because they've added a few more neutral tones and a couple more darker tones, I think. But yeah, this is worth it as well. And if you're just looking for something for the odd time that you go out and you don't really want to invest in a foundation, these two definitely combine them because they work fab and you can use them all over as a foundation. I just thought I would give that little option there just in case it is people thinking I don't really want to buy a full tube of foundation because I don't use it or anything like that. Sometimes it's just a little bit quicker and easier just to pick up a couple of concealers and use that as a foundation. Even if you just don't want a lot of coverage, these would be fab. So yeah, that is my top 10 drugstore foundations. If you guys enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, comment. Also, I do still have a giveaway up and running at the moment as well, so I will leave that linked in the little cards above. Make sure that you do go and enter that. That is actually, I think that's due closing on the 18th. So I hope this video did help some of you guys who maybe are looking for more affordable foundations to wear for a more glam event. I know when I was looking for foundations or if I was wanting to buy a foundation, I always went on YouTube and I searched and I looked at people's favourite foundations, or I always looked at the descriptions to see what people were wearing all the time. So hopefully this video will help some of you guys. But thank you guys very much for watching this. Again, like, subscribe, comment, all that usual jazz. And I shall see you guys in my next video.